When you look around yourself, no two trees are exactly identical, even though they may be from the same variety. Uh, kind of what I'm showing you on the screen, you notice now that many trees are getting created. In fact, I'm creating one tree every second, but every tree looks different from the previous one. Though you can clearly recognize that they are coming from the same variety. There's a broad structure to that, but sometimes trees are like very thin. This time only a stump. It sometimes they are quite large. So how is this happening? How are we doing this animation? In fact, we are very close to this already in our pursuit just now. I'll show you how do we get this. Previously, we were doing an animation where the tree looked like it was swaying in the wind. We are going to just build on top of that and we'll create this effect as well. Basically, the way my tree works is by recursion. As you know, we create one branch, then we go in both directions, create two branches, further two branches, and so on and so forth. But then let's say we make this a little bit probabilistic, which means that I'm not guaranteed to create a branch, for example, on the right side or the left side. High chance that I'll create, but there's also a chance I will not create. Now, think about this. This is really deep. In fact, if I do not create this branch, then basically I don't create anything that comes after this. Because remember, if I basically don't get into this recursion, then none of this gets called. And if I do this over and over again, you find that look, sometimes some branches are missing, sometimes some other branches are missing, and the tree ends up looking quite realistic. So all I need to do really is that I just ask myself a question. Look, there are two times that I'm calling the recursion. I will go and ask myself, well, look, if random dot say random. Now this basically gives me a random number between 0 and 1, equally likely. So I want to keep around a 90% chance that I will, let's say, get into this branch. So let's say I just go and say if this is more than zero point 0.1, because remember 0 to 1, so 0.1 becomes like a 90% chance. And if likewise I just go and say, look, if say random dot random is greater than, let's say, once again 0 0.1. So it's possible that at the first level itself I don't create any, in which case I'll see just a stump. So lots of interesting variations will happen. If 90% chance that I'll go to the left side, and that's all I need to do. Notice everything else will remain the same because everything else is just about aligning the turtle, right? So this makes a decision, I go in or not go in, let's say on that path. And at every point I'm making that call. So sometimes I reach until second level, third level, or I, let's say, go all the way to the end, and so on and so forth, right? So with this done, in fact, all I'll do is that I'll still call my animate function, but I'll make it, let's say, 1 second, so we can clearly observe what is going on. So when I call my animate function, as expected, every 1 second I'm getting a tree. And you notice every tree looks different because now there's a probabilistic component. Sometimes certain branch doesn't get formed at all. Very interesting to think about this. What is going on now? We've added a bit of, let's say, randomness to the tree creation. And notice every tree looks different. This looks very sparse. This looks like just one stump. But because it's all probabilistic, obviously you can play with those probabilities. You can go further amount of randomness. You can, for example, make the color random. You can make the color of the dots random, and so on and so forth. Lots of things can still be done. But you see how we have progressed in our thought from having a single barren tree to a colorful tree, then to a tree that is animated, then to a tree that has a probabilistic nature, which means sometimes it gets created differently, some other time it gets created some other way. So that creates a bit like a very interesting realism to the whole project, which I think is quite interesting. As always, learning like this is fun. Learning like this makes us understand concepts because we are applying concepts all the time and we are seeing the results in front of us. Look at our website www.ybyte.in because that is how we learn Python programming. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye.